Welcome to Knife Thoughts. This video is going to be a follow-up on these two knives, and these are both Great Eastern Cutlery number 47 Vipers in Gabon Ebony from this 2023 run. And I decided to get these, or really ended up getting these, because I had a Viper from the 2020 run and really enjoyed it, used it, but I saw that they were coming out with an ebony version, and I wanted to get one of them because I think that you can't really get too much more classic than ebony on a slip joint, and particularly I think it goes well with a sway back like this. But I was having trouble getting one. They were going really fast on drops, and I had missed most of the drops, and I didn't think I was going to get one. I emailed the factory to see if they had any there and was considering driving up. But then I ended up getting two. A reserve came through that I didn't think was going to, and I was able to get one at Traditional Pocket Knives. But before I got one, I saw some people on the Barlow Bearcat Club were having kind of an interesting issue. And that was that the liners were proud of the scales. And now I don't know if it's something where they didn't get polished down enough or if the scales were shrinking. But either way, the liners, so that you can see that it's brass on these, were sticking out up above the ebony scales. And it's not really much of a practical issue. I don't really think that it would create a major hot spot or anything like that when you are using the knife, but it is something that I think, is pretty unusual for GEC. I don't recall seeing it on really any knives across a run. I've seen some handle material shrink, but I haven't really seen it as commonly as it seems like it has been on this particular handle material on this particular run. I've seen several people have it, and in the comments of that first video, several other people mentioned that they did have it also. And this knife had that, so the liners were proud so that you could catch your thumbnail on them really easily here and also in the front. Another thing, this is why I know that this is the first one I got, there's a little gap there at the shield. So I didn't think that was a huge deal, but not a major thing. But since I was getting another one, I thought, maybe the second one would be better. Well, that was not the case. The second one had just as bad, or actually I think maybe worse, proud liners. Let me get it out here. And it actually had a pretty serious, I would say, crack at the lanyard tube. These lanyard tubes are flared, and other runs of knives in the past from GEC have had cracks at them. But I don't know that I've had any cracks in a wood handle GEC knife. I haven't had as many wood handles as other handle materials, but I haven't really had one. But this was a pretty significant crack. It went the whole way through from the lanyard tube to the butt of the knife. So I was pretty disappointed in that. It also had a pretty proud tip. But I decided to check and see if I could send them into GEC. Of course, Joan May, always super helpful, and said, yeah, send them in. I gave her a call and asked if I could send. I actually initially emailed just about this one with the crack, and then I gave her a call and asked if I could send this one in to see if they could fix the proud liners, and she said, yeah, definitely. So I sent them in, and they got them on a Friday, and I got them back on the next Friday. So it was a really quick turnaround. I have sent things into GEC before where it was a little bit longer than that. I've been really lucky in that I do live close, so I can take things in person and such, but it was a really quick turnaround from Friday to Friday. And I want to mention also that in that previous video, as well as just online, I've seen other people saying that they have sent theirs in also. So I'm sure they're very busy. I know that they're usually or often pretty short-staffed. So I think that that's a great turnaround, and I hope everyone has that quick a turnaround if you have sent in your Viper from this run. I was really impressed with that turnaround time. I don't think you can ask for a whole lot more than that, to be honest. But looking at the knives, this one, the first one that I got, it was definitely polished down. So you can see it does still have that gap. It's the same knife, the same covers, and there was some polishing compound on it when I got it. So it was pretty clear that they just polished these liners down, and it worked really well. you know, I can still maybe slightly catch my thumb on those liners, but it's not really out of what I think normally I would expect on a GEC. It's not, you can't visually see that it's proud, as you can see there. And that was how it was before I sent it in. You could actually see easily, you know, with your naked eye that it was, those liners were proud, were tall, were high above the scale. So you can't see that anymore. And even though you can, you know, slightly catch your thumbnail, that's not that uncommon, I would say. That's the point where I wouldn't call it a defect, whereas before I would have called it a defect. But still has nice action. Same deal here on these front scales. You can catch slightly, but it's very different. It's definitely, you know, polished down significantly so that you can't see that it's proud anymore. And I think that it's at the point where, had there not been other people who had that issue so that I was looking for it, if it had come in this state, I probably wouldn't have noticed. So I'm happy with that. I think that they did a good job of it, and I'm happy that they fixed it up nicely and quickly. Still no gaps, and nice and flush with the back spring. So I'm happy with that one. And then this one, they definitely, you know, fixed the crack. And so this one also had polishing compound on it. So I'm thinking that they did polish the liners down. But I asked Joan May, you know, are you able to tell me if you replaced the scale, you know, on this side, or replaced the knife, or just fixed it? And, you know, fixing it, you could put glue or something in that crack and kind of squeeze it and hope that it closes up and stabilizes. I don't know if that's the fix that they would go with. I know that Bill and William and Joan May all really care about the quality and you know, build quality of these knives. So I don't know that that's really the fix that they would go with. And then the other option is to replace the scale, but if you replace one scale, you have to take the whole knife apart, and it's basically like building a new knife. So I wondered if they didn't just replace the knife, and I was trying to look closely at my video, the previous video, to see how the grain and all of that lines up, and I think that it does have a different grain on both sides. And Joan May said that she does think that they just replaced the knife. So that's just something interesting I wanted to mention, is that I do think that they just replaced this knife because of that crack. And that makes sense with the amount of labor that would go into fixing it. I think it's probably easier to just replace it with one that they have in the factory. So I'm really happy with it. It doesn't have any cracks. And like I said, it did look like it had some polishing compound on it. So I wonder if they didn't check it for those proud liners and polish it down some. And this one is the same deal. You might be able to catch your thumbnail on it just a little bit, but not much more than normal. And you certainly can't see that it's proud like you could on the one that this replaced. So same deal on the inside here. You can catch a little bit, but it's definitely better than it was on the one that I sent in. So I'm really happy with it. The plan here was to get these to be a user, so that's still the plan. Keep one as a user, and I don't really know what I'll do with the other one. Maybe keep it or something like that. But I just wanted to do a follow-up video because my previous video was pretty negative about these knives, and it's always great to see that, you know, a company that you really enjoy their products, and I've really enjoyed getting to talk with and deal with everyone at GEC, Joan May, Bill, William, Sue, Patty, everybody's great. So it's great to see that they continue to do great service and stand behind their knives. And I really appreciate it, and I think I really wanted to make sure that everyone, you know, knew that that was the case. So if you have sent in a knife recently, I'd love to hear what your experience was. If you've sent in a knife on this run, definitely love to hear what your experience is on it. And if you've enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Definitely leave your comments, like I said, anything related to GEC's warranty and service. And make sure you check out my website, knifethoughts.com, where I post articles on knives like this and knife-related topics. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and select all so you know when I post new videos. Hoping to have more regular videos here in 2024. But less on the side of like just like unboxings and knife reviews, and more on, you know, different thoughts about knives and things like that. Hence the name, Knife Thoughts, right? So thanks for watching as always, and last but not least, don't forget to go out and do good.